Hello everyone, welcome to programtalkies.com and it's me Arson. First of all, let's begin with why C programming. For your kind information, C programming was invented by late Dennis Tracy. Now let's begin with why it's needed. It's needed because it's considered as basic foundation for almost all programming language, but I in no way intend to present it as father of mother of any language. If you are in mood of let's be a programmer, then this is something which you can't afford to skip or miss. For those scenarios where you need to communicate with system or hardware, then C programming is much more preferred because it works closely with machine. Apart from these, whenever you need to write a program friendly to user with the processing speed almost comparable to machine level language or assembly language, then C programming fits in a cool way. Apart from this, it's also used for operating systems and for drivers as well, and mostly it's included in almost all academic syllabus. So for those who needs to deal with their curriculum, I guess you guys don't need to decipher or decode more reasons for C programming. C programming in an hour, yeah, you heard it right. I will be trying to decode and decipher all the essence of C programming and its cool features within an hour. The topics which will be covered during our sitting would be compilers, why they are needed, what sort of compilers we'll be using, then we'll be writing wonderful hello world program, that is our first program, then we'll be taking input from our wonderful users, then we'll be handling arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction and all those stuffs. Then we'll be diving into conditional statements by courtesy of if statement, if else statement, if else statement. Then there will be switch statements, why they are needed. Then we'll try to play with loop, why they are needed, how they work. We'll be looking after while loop, do while loop and for loop. Then there will be wonderful functions there, why we use them, how we use them, and what's its importance and all those stuff. Then there will be array collection of similar data type. There will be looking after sorting of array and all those wonderful stuffs. Then there comes strings, array of characters. Then there will be structure. Then we'll be diving into session for file handling. So within an hour we'll try to tackle C programming in cool and efficient manner. And then let's get started here. Okay, first of all, I will be needing compiler. Compiler? What is that? If you guys are thinking like that, then compiler is nothing but it's just a normal software in which we'll be writing all our stuffs. In our case, for C programming language. Whatever we want to convey our message or whatever information we need to convey, it's not directly conveyed to the machine. So this particular software or compiler will be there at our access, which will be playing the role of mediator with the system. Because in any programming language, what we'll be doing is we'll be trying to communicate with system or machine. That's why it's called programming language, via the use of programming. So whenever you hear terms regarding compilers and all those stuff, just think it as some software, okay? And regarding compilers, there are many types of compilers available at your access. For now, I'll be dealing with code blocks and Borland C++ compiler. Similarly, you can work with other compilers as well, like div C++, and few guys also opt for turbo C++. Then if you are working with your Mac, then you might need to use Xcode, or feel free to try with NetBeans as well. For now, let's begin with code blocks. Okay, this is termed as IDE. IDE standing for Integrated Development Environment. Here obviously we'll be creating a new project. I'm pressing, then we'll be opting for console application because we'll be developing console application. Then just press go, then normal next, and obviously we'll be opting for C programming language. Then next, then let's give title something like 1 hour stay. Wow, it sounds cool. Now next, on the compiler, let's opt for GNU GCC compiler. Then debug and release options would remain checked. Then press finish and we're done. Now navigate to main.c. Here, this is our first program. Here at first we are including two header files, stdio.h and stdlib.h. It's standing for standard input and output header file, and this one is for standard library header file. Now here is int main. Main is standing for, this is our application's entry point. From here our program would be executed. Int generally means function with return type, but for now don't worry about whether it's void type or return type. In any program there will be only one main block, that is multiple main blocks are not allowed, as its name implies. Then there is this wonderful printf function. This printf function carry out the task of displaying the content. So whenever you need to display some information to your user while running your application, then you need to display this particular content. Then you'll be using printf. Here by using semicolon, we are telling our system that this particular statement is terminated here. That's why it's called terminator. Then this return 0 is used because we have used int type function with return type, it's called. But for now there will be one main block. Then printf function is used for greeting the world with hello. Okay, now let's try to run this particular program. For that what we can do is we can at first build, or for now let's build and run. Okay, wonderful. Here it comes, hello world. Then it's pretty much that way. Here at first our system, our compiler 6 here, and printf has been used, so it will display hello world. Then work is done. If you are compatible with some other compilers, then you can use them as well. Like in my case, I've already installed Borland C++ compiler. Here we can check file, new text edit. Then here what we'll be doing is, at first we'll be including two header files. Has include stdio.h standing for standard input output header file. Then I'll be using function with no return type. That's why voidman, it's our application entry point. Then I'll be using printf function used for displaying purpose. Then let's write something, welcome to the C programming session. Okay, then I'm using semicolon indicating the point of termination. Then let's try to compile. Warning 0, error 0. Warnings, few warnings doesn't hurt much for now, but there shouldn't be any errors because our program needs to be error free, otherwise we won't be able to run and execute. Now let's try to run this program. Debug run or Ctrl plus F9 key. Wow, it just vanished within blink. So for Borland compiler we'll be using getcs function, Alt plus F9 key. There is one error, call to undefined function getcs. So for getcs we'll be including another header file as include conio.h standing for console input and output header file. Let's compile, Alt plus F9 key, then Control plus F9 key. Cool. Welcome to the C programming session. Then there is getcs, that is we are dealing with top down approach. Okay, so far so good. Now let's continue doing some more stuffs. Here let's try to write another function as well, printf. Then we'll be populating with some stuffs like hello world, we are here, blah blah blah. Then there is one semicolon. Now let's press F9. Okay, hello world, we are here, but this is not pretty much clear for normal readers because we need to either provide the gap or display this particular content. We are here in the next line. For that we'll be using escape sequence. /n standing for next line or new line feed. So when we compile and run this program, what will happen is we'll be getting output like hello world, then new line feed, then there is we are here. Similarly, we'll be using /t whenever we need to provide the gap. Let's press F9, call hello world, then there is next line, then tab for this gap, then the content we are here. It means whenever a few or some characters, before any characters, if we use particular backslash, then it will escape from the sequence in which it's processing. So that's why they are termed as escape sequence, right? Up to this point, this is pretty much meaningless program because nobody wants to watch or run any application which will just display hello world, we are here. They won't care much about whether we are here or not. So let's try to write some meaningful stuffs. Let's begin with calculation. Suppose we need to calculate the sum between 10 and 20, which is definitely 30. You all guys are genius. In this case, 10, 20 and 30 all are integer numbers. So at first we need to allocate a space for storing these particular numbers. For that we'll be writing int for integer data type. Then we'll be declaring variables like int a, which normally means that we are asking our system to allocate a space for storing an integer number and naming that as a. Similarly, we can write int b, integer b and integer c. We have successfully allocated space for a, b and c. Now what we'll be doing is let's place them or give them values like b equals 20 and c equals 30. No, because we won't be doing all these stuffs ourselves. We will be asking our wonderful machine to carry out the calculation for us. Now we'll be just writing the formula we need to calculate. So a equals 10, b equals 20 and c equals summation of a and b. Now we need to display the result, obviously, otherwise there will be no point in writing these programs. Okay, sum is c. If we just write sum is c, then it will normally display sum is c, because it's not pretty much suitable for the system to provide the intelligence to us. Otherwise what will happen is if I write I love cat, then it will display I love 3080, which is not preferred. Okay, so sum is integer number. For that we'll be providing it with format specifier for integer numbers, which is %d. It implies my sum is of integer type. Then we'll be writing here which one is we need, a, b and c. Among them we'll be obviously needing c. Okay, so sum is integer number, value of c is required. Well, let's try to run this program. Press F9. Okay, here it comes. A equals 10, b equals 20, c equals a plus b, which leads to 30. So sum is integer number, whose value we need, value of c. So sum is 30. Just in case if we try to ridicule our system by writing sum is %d, value of a, then it won't mind either. Okay, so it will normally display sum is 10. As told earlier, it doesn't have artificial intelligence. We need to take care of it ourselves. Okay, so we will be obviously writing sum is c, and if we need to display content like sum of a and b is c, then we'll be writing sum of 10 %d and 20, also integer number, is integer number %d, whose value we need, value of a comma b comma c. Okay, so it will all be wonderful. Sum of first value a, which is 10, sum of 10 and 20 is 30. It's pretty much fascinating, isn't it, guys? Now whenever it's possible, we want to write as less as possible, so we'll be doing all these stuff in single line. Integer a equals 10, b equals 20 and c equals a plus b. Now let's press F9 and here comes our output. Sum of 10 and 20 is 30. Same output, but it's less over it. Okay, now Up to this point we have assigned value by ourselves, but none of the person in this world might need sum of 10 and 20s 30 by running our wonderful applications. So let's ask our users what value they need to calculate sum or some other stuffs. Okay, so for that what we'll be doing is printf enter the value of a. Okay, printf has been used for displaying the content or printing some content. You can consider it that way as well. So whenever we need to take input from the user, we'll be using scanf, something similar to scanner. So at first the syntax here is we have to write the format specifier. A is of integer data type, so we'll be writing %d, and where to store it, we'll be obviously storing it at the place or space allocated for a, that is address of a or %a. Now similarly we'll be asking the user to enter the value of b. Then what we'll be doing is we'll be obviously using scanf function and providing the format specifier %d, that is for integer data type, and this value would be stored at b, so address of b or %b. Now it's pretty much analogous to a equals 10 and b equals 20. Now we'll be writing our formula c equals a plus b, then final result would be displayed. Okay, cool. Build and run. Enter the value of a. Here we come. Let's say we are entering 22. It's an integer data type and it's going to be stored at address of a or the space allocated for a. Similarly, enter the value of b, 33. A equals 22 and b equals 33. C equals a plus b. 22 plus 33 equals 55. Wow, sum of 22 and 33 is 55. The work is done. But here these lines or statements are pretty much ridiculing me, because it's like we're writing something again and again. It would be wonderful if you can write something like enter the values of a and b. Cool. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be deleting these particular lines, then we'll be writing two integer numbers, so to %d, then address of a comma address of b. It would be wonderful. Let's press F9. Enter the value of a and b. 22 33, sum is definitely 55, but here it's not appearing pretty much cool, so this is where skip sequence are needed whenever we need to spice out or make our output pretty much clear. Okay, so we'll be using /n. Let's go to build and run our application. Into the values of a and b. Now it's appearing cool. Yeah. So for now what I'll be doing is I'll be just leaving it as wow. Why it's not working, I don't know. Okay, let's try to delete it. Sum is integer number %d, and here we'll be displaying the result as c. Okay, so build and run. 2 3, sum is 5. Okay, cool. Now just in case if we need to calculate the difference between them, then what we'll be writing, we'll be normally writing c equals a minus b, and we'll be just displaying the content like difference is integer number whose value we need. We'll be needing the value of c. Similarly, if we need to calculate the product between them, then we'll be writing c equals a times b, and we'll be displaying the output in normal manner like product is integer number whose value it's c. Similarly, for the difference, what we'll be doing, c equals a upon b. Then the result would be like division is %d whose value we need c. Similarly, there's one thing called modulus or percentage. It's used whenever we need to calculate the remainder. Remainder is an integer number whose value it's obviously that of c. Okay, cool. So these all plus, minus, multiplication, division are arithmetic operators. One cool thing about programming is we don't change any meaning of either English language or mathematical terms. Okay, so plus or addition is addition no matter whether it's in mathematics or programming. Now let's build and run this program. Okay, here it comes. Enter the values of a and b. Let's write something like 21 and value of b would be 10. So c equals a plus b. 21 plus 10 equals 31, and similarly other results will be carried out. Sum is 31, difference is 11, product is 210, division is 10 times 2 equals 20, so 2, remainder is 1. 10 times 2 equals 20, then there will be remainder of 1. This is how we handle. Okay, so cool. So up to this point we are able to take input from the user and calculate or carry out any operations as per their requirement. Now after calculating the sum, let's say we need to play with handling the conditions, like if a certain thing happens then we need to do this task and blah blah blah. For that we'll be using if statement. If test condition is true, do this. If test condition is true, then do this. We'll be writing. Okay, so for now our test condition would be revolving around the value of c. If c is greater than 20, let's say if the result or value of c is greater than 20, then we need to display some information like sum is greater than 20. Okay, cool. So whenever if statement are used, it's always cool way to handle these conditions. Okay, so if this particular test condition is true, do this. That is, whenever c is greater than 20, this has to be executed. Okay, let's press F9. Enter the values of a and b. Let's write 22 and 33. Sum is 55. Here it asks, is 55 greater than 20? Hell yeah. So sum should be greater than 20, or sum is greater than 20. Here it comes. Now let's try to press enter some small values. Okay, 2 and 3. Sum is 5. It asks, is 5 greater than 20? No way, so it shouldn't be executed. So just normal sum is 5 is displayed and this block is not activated. If you need to activate that block as well, then we'll be normally writing if c is less than 20, do something like displaying the information like let's say sum is less than 20. Now let's run this program. 22, 33. Sum is 55. 55 is greater than 20, so obviously sum is greater than 20. Cool. Now let's try to provide some other inputs like 2 and 3. 5 is greater than 20? No. Now it comes here and asks, is 5 less than 20? Yes. So sum is less than 20. So far so good. If test condition is true, do this. But normally what we prefer is, if particular test condition 1 is not satisfied, then we'll be going to this condition. On scenarios like this, what we'll be doing is, if test condition 1 is true, do this, else do this. That is, negative logic could be else. If c is not greater than 20 and if c is less than 20, this has to be executed. So whenever c is not greater than 20, obviously it's less than 20. So this is handled using IFelse statement. This is IFelse statement in programming. Okay, now let's try to run and check the output. Enter the value of a and b. 22, 33. Sum is 55. 55 is greater than 20? Yes. So here comes sum is greater than 20. Else block is inactive in this particular input. Okay, now let's press F9. It comes. 2 and 3. Is 5 greater than 20? No. So here this particular else flag could be activated. Sum is less than 20. Okay, cool. Now we can handle the conditions using if-else statement, but this particular if-else statement appears some sort of machine level language to me, like Boolean logic, yes and no, or true and false. But in real-time scenario, just handling this stuff, so if with yes or no doesn't work pretty much in good way, so obviously we'll be needing many test conditions. So for the scenarios, what we'll be doing is we'll be using if-else if statement. For that, what we'll be writing is, if this particular test condition is satisfied, do this. Else, if this particular condition, let's write c is greater than 15, is satisfied, then write something like normal information, like what sum is greater than 15. Okay, well, here it comes. We can write as many conditions as we need. C is greater than 10, then execute these statements by displaying printf sum is greater than 10. Otherwise, what we'll be displaying is, in this case, sum is less than 10. So what happens here is, at first it checks the first condition. If it's satisfied, then end of topic. Normally it will be displayed, otherwise it will keep on checking upcoming test conditions. Let's press F9 and run our program. Enter the values of a and b, 22 and 33. Sum is 55. Is 55 greater than 20? Yes, first test condition is satisfied. Then here it comes, sum is greater than 20. One thing we need to think here and take notice is that 55 is also greater than 15, and it's also greater than 10 as well. But whenever one test condition is satisfied, it doesn't check remaining conditions. Let's press again and run the program. Enter the values of a and b. Let's write something as 7 and 9, 16. Is 16 greater than 20? No. Now here it comes. Is 16 greater than 15? Yes. So what it will be doing is, sum is 16, sum is greater than 15, and similar would be the way for handling upcoming stuffs as well. Now, up to this point, we are able to calculate the sum and play with all these conditional statements. Now there is one other option termed as switch statement. Normally in programming scenario, if-else if statements handle the conditions pretty much in cool manner, but while dealing with large projects, just the normal use of if-else statement makes the program logic a bit unclear or messier. So scenarios like that will be using switch statements, and its speed is pretty much preferred while handling those conditions checking. Okay, so the syntax of switch would be, at first we'll be asking the user to enter some numbers, like enter 1 for addition and 2 for subtraction. Okay, 2 for subtraction. Skip sequence lesson has been used. Now this particular value would be sent to where? Address of x. Now keyword switch would be used, just like the case if this happens, do this, switch x. Here what we'll be doing is we'll be handling the conditions in a bit different manner by writing something like switch x case 1. In switch we'll be always using case. Okay, so it's pretty much similar to if statement. It works in a manner, if x equals 1, do this, else if x equals 2, do this, and so on. Okay, now at first we'll be writing, or I mean to tell, we'll be taking user input like this. Then for switch statement, what we'll be doing is we'll be using break statement. I'll come back to it in a while. For now, for case 2, what we'll be doing is we'll be calculating the difference, c equals a minus b. Then there would be normally break statement. Then just like the use of else, we'll be using default in our case and display the content like let's say invalid, because we are just providing the option of 1 and 2, and some genius is entering other numbers. Okay, now let's run this program. Enter 1 for addition and 2 for subtraction. I'm entering 1. It's stored at place of x. Switch 1. Here it asks, is the value of x is 1? True. Then this will be executed. Into the values of a and b, 2 and 3. Sum is 5. Then there is a break statement which takes the program flow out of this particular segment and comes outside the switch statement, and it's pretty much handled in this way. So just in case if you are thinking why we need to use break statement, let's try to remove this particular break statement and run our program. 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction. I'm entering 1, then here it comes case 1, 1 and 1 match, so enter the values of a and b, 2 and 3. Sum is 5. Then again it's asking enter the values of a and b, because we have removed the break statement, so it keeps on going to the remaining case as well. So it's not optional, that is the use of break statement has to be always there. Okay, so guys, this is how we handle switch statement. It's pretty much a cool way for handling the large projects and tracking them. Now after switch, will be moving towards loop. Let's say for loop program, what we'll be doing is I'll be copying these particular lines. I'm pretty much lazy. Okay, now what I'll be doing is I'll be deleting it and play with some other stuffs. Integer ABC would be fine for now. Now let's say we need to run these particular statements of calculation for 3 or 4 sets of numbers. That is, at first it has to ask for the first set by displaying into the values of a and b. I'll be entering 2 and 3, let's say. Then on the second run it has to ask for yet another number. So for that, from up to this point, what we can do is we'll be copying and pasting all these stuffs. Then let's run this program, and here we'll be provided with enter the values of a and b, similarly another set and another set as well. Okay, but we are literally throwing away our resource. This is not a cool way of handling these stuffs. It's redundant coding. So in order to run this particular block as many times as you need, we'll be obviously using loops. For loops, what we'll be doing is we'll be asking our system to run any block or segment in continuous pattern. In loop there are while loop, do while loop and for loop. Let's begin with while loop. I'll be declaring count as integer type and whose value is 0. This is term-based initialization. Now what I'll be writing is the syntax, just like if for if, switch for switch, and while for while. While this particular test condition is satisfied, while count is less than 3, let's say. Okay, I'm deleting it and placing it here. Okay, so cool. Now what I'll be doing is pressing tab key. Okay, cool. Now what I'll be doing is I'll be incrementing count by value of 1 here. While this particular test condition is satisfied, do this and increment. So all loop will be having 3 portions like initialization, test condition and update, that is either increment or decrement. Let's try to run this program. At first there is value of count is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, so it enters here inside the body of loop. Now 2 and 3, sum is 5. Then count equals count plus 1, 0 plus 1 equals 1. Is 1 is less than 3? Yes, so it again asks 1 plus 1 equals 2. Is 2 is less than 3? Why not? Of course. After that, 2 plus 1 equals 3. Is 3 is less than 3? No. So in this way we can execute any block any number of times for our needs. So in this way we can reuse our lines of codes. Okay, so if we write count equals 10, what happens here? It asks, is 10 is less than 3? No, so it shouldn't display anything at all from this particular block. Okay, so whenever test condition is not true, it doesn't get activated. Another loop is do while loop. What happens here is we'll be writing do this when something like this is satisfied. Okay, do this when count is less than 3. So for now let's run this program. I'm pressing F9, enter the values of A and B, 2, 3. Wow, what happens here is 10. We are not asking anything, just running these statements. Then after incrementing it by 1, we're asking is 11 less than 3? Hell no. So in this way do while is a bit different from the existing while loop. Here no matter what, irrespective of the test condition being true or false, what happens here is body of loop is activated at least once. And in this case also there is one initialization, then there is update, and here is test condition. Okay, another type of loop available to us is for loop, but before that let's try providing the same values. What happens here is it has to run 3 times. Okay, first set, then there is second set, and another one is third set. Okay, output is same for while and do while when test condition is satisfied. Here this is initialization, this is update, and this is test condition. But whenever we need to write all these within single line, what we'll be using is we'll be using for loop. For count equals 0, then we'll be writing test condition like count is less than 3, then update. Count plus plus is same as writing count equals count plus 1. Similarly, count minus minus for count equals count minus 1. Output is going to be same. The mechanism of functioning of for loop is exactly like that of while loop. Let's press F9. First set, then there is second set, and final set. Okay, so just in case if you write count equals 10, what happens here is blank. Yeah, just like the case of while loop. Okay guys, so loops are pretty much important for us. Now let's jump to another thing termed as function. What happens in case of function is let me place it like this. Okay, this one is for addition. Now let's say after calculating this particular addition, what we write is we are displaying some other content like class and some other content. So what happens here is we need to again calculate this particular content. Now we'll be writing here the same content. Let's try to run this program. 2 and 3 is 5. Then what happens here is 2 and 3 is 5 for the first set, then there would be 4 and 5 for the second set, then for the final set. Wow, I've just copied it for 2 times, so there is no need of entering any other values. But in this case what happens here is we are rewriting these lines again and again, and in this case we won't be able to use the loop either, because this will keep on repeating this particular some other content as well. So what would be the best way to handle this? This is where function fits in. Okay, for function what we'll be doing is at first we'll be declaring the function like void add. This is termed as function declaration. That is, we are telling our system that there is going to be one function named as add, which is of no return type. That is, we won't be returning anything, just like in the case of Borderland compiler where we have written void main. Okay, void add. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be placing function definition. Function declaration and function definition will be exact copy paste, but absence and presence of semicolon is going to be different. Now I'll be taking this content here and writing something like void add integer abc. All the content from main block is being transferred here, but this particular one, okay, it's fine. Sum is this much. Now whenever we need to activate this particular block, we'll be writing the function name. This is called as calling the function. Function has been called from here. It will go here and do all this thing, then come back to this particular block where we'll be writing the content like /n some other content, and again whenever we need to activate that, we'll be using the function name for calling that. Let's try to compile and run. Into the values of a and b, add, it goes here and execute whatever is written within that block. Sum is 5, then it comes back to the original calling block. This one is calling block and this one is call block. Then there comes some other content, and again we're able to call the same content. Okay, so it's pretty much cool, isn't it? So there is no need to rewrite again and again. We can just write normal function name and call the content and activate that. This is how we handle function in programming. It's one of the coolest stuff in programming for sure. Now let's try to go with some other stuff like what? Like array. Okay, so let's say we need to take values like integer x comma x1 comma x2. That is, I'm trying to take value of x, 3 different values of x equals something, x1 equals something, and x2 equals something, just like the case in which you are expected to take user input for markup student. For marks of students, there is going to be numerous values. So if we keep on declaring the variables like x comma x1 comma x2, it would be fine for up to 2 to 3 inputs. But what if you need to take values like from 1 to something 3000? It would be pretty much Herculean task. So for the scenarios, we'll be using array. For array, what we'll be doing is we'll be writing data type of let's say for now it's of integer type, then name of array x, and this particular one is size of array, which is 12. Okay, now we'll be playing with loop. So I'm declaring I as integer. Here whenever we write x12, we are asking for space allocation for 12 integer numbers, contiguous memory. Okay, so let's try to take the user input like for I equals 0, I is less than 3, and I plus plus. Printf, enter the value of x. Then what we'll be writing here is scanf, then integer number %d, and we're to save it at address of x. But here I has to be introduced because we are playing with index. So whenever I equals 0, 0 is less than 3, then it will be stored in address of x0. Here one thing to note down here is the first element of array is always going to be of 0th index. Okay, so let's try to display the output like something like this would be fine. Printf, x is of integer type, %d, whose value we need, we'll be needing the value of xi. Okay, cool. Here what we'll be doing is we'll be using the line break. Now let's try, okay, remove this typo and enter the value of x, 22, 3, and 4. It's fine. Some other content, then again function call is made and it comes to this particular block. Okay, it's pretty much wonderful. Now for the part of array, what we can do is we can look upon something like sorting of array. That is, whenever we need to sorting array, I'll be showing you guys one demo for that. Like integer I, j, and t, I'll be using third variable as t, and this one will be used normally. And then whenever we need to sort the array element, what we'll be doing is we'll be writing the normal loop like this. Okay, I'm going to take, wow, sorry, I'm suffering from common cold. Anyway, I is less than 5. Okay, so for the inner loop, what we'll be doing is we'll be activating another loop just like this. So whenever we need to do the sorting stuff, what we'll be doing is, one way to handle the sorting would be by doing something like this. For I equals 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, just like the normal case where we have taken 5 user input. Then what we'll be doing is, let's try to handle it by a more efficient way. I plus 1, that is, we are going to implement the selection sort. If xi is less than xj, t equals xi, then what we'll be doing is we'll be normally writing xi equals xj and xj equals t. Now what happens here is, if this particular element, let's say, is less than another element, then what happens? Swap these numbers. I'm not going into much detail on this particular part because it would be pretty much time consuming. I'm just trying to show you the normal demo of how things would be handled in programming whenever we need to sort them. 77, let's give some random numbers like this, and 35. Yeah, wonderful. 177, 66, 55 and 35. Okay guys, it's pretty much cool. This is how we can handle the sorting stuff in array. Now there is one thing called string. String is array of characters. For that, what we'll be doing is we'll be declaring the string, like let's say character name, then there will be length of string. Then at first what we'll be doing is we'll be asking the user enter your name, then they will be entering their name. For that, what we'll be using is scanf. The format specifier for this is going to be string %s, and where to store it. It should be stored at address of name. Now let's try to display this particular content as name is %s. Whose value we need? We'll be needing the value of name. Now let's run this program. Enter your name. Okay, I'm writing Arson. Name is Arson. Pretty much cool. Also, there is one issue on this particular program. Let's run this program and give the input like Arson is TSA. Then there's only Arson is displayed because after space it's unable to read the content. So on those scenarios, what we'll be using is we'll be using get string function, and it's providing the name of the string. Press F9, then you can do anything. Arson yes TSA. Okay, cool. Name is Arson yes TSA. Okay guys, this is how we can handle, or I mean to tell, how we can play with the strings. There are many more features of strings, like you can do something like this, str upr for string upper. Then what happens here is we probably need to add one header file for this, as include, let's add up string.ts header file. Wow, string.ts header file. Then what happens here is enter your name, Arson's, right? So I'm entering here. Wonderful. Caps lock has been on because we are using the strings library function. str is standing for string and upr for uppercase. Similarly, you can play with the strlwr, strcmp, strib, and many more. Now up to this point, we are able to handle or play with the collection of similar data type like array and string. But whenever we need to play with different or heterogeneous combination, Just for instance, in case of students information, what we need is we need name, which is string, is integer, and float mark. So handling those stuff, what we'll be doing is we'll be opting for structure. For structure, keyword would be struct, then the name of structure, let's write as student, then wow, I don't need it, student would be fine for me. Okay, now I'll be writing the structure members within this block, something like character name, and let's say I need to play with as. So whenever I need to play with this structure, I need to define structure variable. So let's ask enter the name and age of student. Now for scanf part, what we'll be writing is format specify string and integer, and one thing is different here, we'll be storing at address of yes dot name and address of yes dot age. Similarly, for accessing those values, what we'll be writing is name is string and age is integer, whose value we need yes dot name comma s dot age. Press F9, enter the name and age. Let's write AST, whose age is 22, name is AST and age is 22. Similarly, we can populate with as many members as we want, but we need to declare, or we need to play with this particular dot operator via a structure variable. Okay, cool. Now let's say we need to save these contents somewhere. In that case, but before that, we can play with structure with array as well. For many members, we can write or handle it in this way. Now let's define integer I, and what we'll be writing is for I equals 0 and I is less than 3, I plus plus. Then what we'll be doing is we'll be writing something like enter name is and mark of student, and then we'll be displaying the same content. For that, let's play with the index by writing okay yes I dot name and yes I dot is. Okay, well, it would be fine. Then we need to again activate the loop for I equals 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus, whose value we'll be needing, will be obviously needing the value of yes I dot name and yes I dot age. Okay, cool. Yes I dot name comma, okay, we go yes I dot age. Let me use the line breaks here, otherwise it will be pretty much messier. Let's run this program. Enter name is and mark AA 22, yes 33, and DD 55. Cool. All content has been taken care of. Okay, up to this point we have played with many more issues of programming. Now let's say we need to store some content, or let's say we need to store this content somewhere. In that case, what we'll be doing is we'll be working with file. So whenever we need to play with file, we will be declaring file pointer, file asterisk. This particular one is symbol used for pointer, whose work is to point somewhere. So file pointer fp. This one is keyword, this is user defined. You can write anything as per your wish. So at first, what we need to do is we need to open the file. fp equals fopen. Then name of file, let's say this is ast.c. Then file opening mode. File opening mode would be read, write, and append. For now, I'm directly going to play with write mode. Here, what happens here is we'll be writing the file name here and file opening mode here. At first, I am asking it to open it. So after opening up, what we'll be doing is we need to store this particular content within that particular file. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be copying and pasting here. Then in order to save into the file, what we'll be writing is we'll be adding Printf for saving into the file. Then we'll be introducing this particular file pointer here. Then after the completion of the task, what we'll be doing is we'll be closing our file. So at first we'll be opening our file, then we'll be performing the operation, then it will be closed. The file opening modes are going to be read, write and append. For now I am displaying the demo using write mode only. Okay, so now let's run this program. Okay, name is let's say Tracy, whose age is 22. Another one is Nancy, whose age is 23, and another one is Nancy. Anyway, let's begin with the ASD, and I'm so good with typing ASD and ESA something. Whose age is 56. If this particular content is stored at our local drive, then it would be fascinating. Our task would be pretty much done. Okay, now let's try to open up file. Open. Is it? No, I don't think it's the folder. I need to no 1 hour state. This is our folder. Okay, here it is. The name of file is ASD.c. Don't click it. Wow, cool. It's here, isn't it, guys? So now we can write anytime any information. It's pretty much fascinating, isn't it, guys? So up to this point we have pretty much deciphered and discovered, or maybe have discussed many things in rapid fire way. I hope it was a wonderful time for you guys as well. Regarding my viewpoint, I really have had a wonderful time being with you wonderful people out there. In the meantime, for detailed course of more than 6 hours, where each and every aspect has been thoroughly defined and described and discussed, please view the detail of that particular course in the link below this particular video. Okay, there will be description of that particular detailed course link. Feel free to access that and enjoy the contents there. In the meantime, please kindly like and subscribe our channel if you guys have had good time with me. In case of any issues or any complications, please feel free to contact me. So I guess it was pretty much a wonderful time for you guys as well. For now, I want to refresh you guys with some content like this one. Okay, we have already started. Now C programming in an hour. We successfully write on our first program. Then we have taken input from user. Then we played with various arithmetic operations. Then we coolly sailed around with conditional statements by the courtesy of if statement, IFelse, and others. Also there was a brief look upon switch statements, then loop, function, array, and similarly string structure, and finally file handling. So guys, this is it for now. After going through this particular video, I guess you guys have had some concept regarding how we communicate with system or machine, and how the task is being completed, or how we can achieve any requirement of ours. Okay, now I'll be keep on going blah blah blah. I don't want to kill your time anymore. It was nice being with you all. Keep on practicing, keep on playing with your requirement via the cool options and essence of programming language. I'll be catching you guys with all those contents on the detailed course as well. For now, it's me, Arson, bidding you goodbye. Have a good time. Thank you all.